So something has finally happened in Cleveland that was bound to happen over time. It was just a matter of when it would actually happen, and it is the fact that millennials are actually starting to move to the Cleveland area. And this is a good thing for a lot of different reasons, and today we're going to dive into exactly why people are moving here over other states. Now, the greater Cleveland area, which is basically just Cuyahoga County, is comprised of about 1.2 million people. So we do compete with a lot of the decent sized cities. However, we're not competing with the bigger cities. It is much smaller. But with Cleveland, you do get that big city feeling when you go downtown. However, it is a lot more manageable than some of these other places in the United States. Now in Cleveland, millennials make up about 23.7% of the population, which equates to about 280,000. And recent studies have confirmed that there has been a 6% increase over the last few years. So we are getting a pretty big influx of people moving here. Now, there are a few key factors as far as why people are wanting to move here right now, and the main thing is going to be the affordability and the job opportunities that we have to offer. Now, as far as income in the greater Cleveland area, you're going to find that the average household income is going to be sitting right around $85,000, and the average house price is sitting right around $200,000, and that is incorporating the cheaper houses that you'll find in like Cleveland itself, and it's also incorporating the more expensive houses that you'll find on the suburbs that surround Cleveland. Now, realistically, if you're living here, you're probably going to be in one of those suburbs, and the average price point then jumps to about $250,000. But at that $85,000 average household income, the payment that you get at that price point is totally manageable. And to put that into a bigger perspective, the average house in the United States costs around $420,000, which on an $85,000 salary or household income, that's not going to be a manageable payment. It's honestly not even possible to even get qualified at that point. If you're sitting at that average household income and you have perfect conditions for a loan approval, you're going to be able to get approved for around a $300,000 loan without a problem, and that is above what the average price point is here, so it is going to be pretty easy to actually land yourself a house. Now, as I'm throwing out these loan numbers, I'm not an expert on loans. I am the person who's going to help you get into a house. However, we can get you in touch with our local lenders that are going to know the market very well, and they're going to be able to get you an idea of what you can afford without even running your credit. That way you can start to decide whether or not it's even feasible for you to move here and whether or not it even makes sense. Now, I mentioned that I'm the person that's going to be helping you through this, so if you are thinking about moving to the area, feel free to reach out to me. All my contact information is down low, but I'm going to stick to talking about the facts of what it's like living here and just why people are actually moving here. Now, the main reason I'm talking about buying a house as opposed to renting a house is because we are one of the markets that actually makes sense to buy a house over renting still, which you're not going to find in a lot of places. The income growth that people are seeing here is outpacing the average rents, so people are having a little bit more disposable income, which allows them to have the ability to save up and buy a house. And realistically, the mortgages that you're going to have on an average house around here is going to be far less than the average rent. So having that opportunity places you in a pretty good spot to set yourself up for success in the future. And from 2009 all the way to current day, average prices for salaries have gone up about 8% over the course of 2 years. So the businesses that are located within the city are growing in a positive way that are positively impacting the people who live here. Now, as far as the different opportunities for jobs that are located here, you're going to find a lot of different diverse opportunities. We have some incredibly robust industries located within the medical field, hospitality, manufacturing, and even construction. So all of these are kind of the main hub as far as what we have going on here. And despite the 6% increase in millennials that we've seen here, the house prices are still sitting pretty stagnant or going down a little bit. In most markets, you're going to find these houses that are going to be able to get into without having to compete with 20 other people offering on the first day. It's going to make your buying process so much easier, and realistically in this type of market, the buyers are kind of in the driver's seat because sellers are just waiting. They don't have a ton of people demanding their house, being able to give up inspections and appraisal gaps and all of that stuff. It's one of those things that if you work with a professional like me, I'm going to be able to help you guide through this market just so that you are represented in the best way, so you can save the most amount of money when you're buying your house and actually still be able to get you into a house without potentially losing out on it. Now, it's also important to mention that the millennials that are moving here aren't really active in the real estate market. They're mainly moving here, getting a rental, just getting settled in. And I think in the near future, they're going to have an idea of what this area is like, whether it's going to support them, and then they'll be able to hop in the housing market from there. Now, like I said already, I think this is an excellent location to invest in, but there are certain parameters that you're going to have to follow that are going to make sense for this to be a successful investment if you are deciding to buy here. If you look at any graph, historically, you're gonna see that home prices go up over time. There are gonna be some ebbs and flows that go up and down. However, the general consensus is going to be that the home prices have increased over a certain amount of time. Now, when you're starting to think about what you bought it for versus what it'll sell for, I always tell my clients that it is probably around that 5-year mark to where you're going to make a profit on your house, even if the market were to change pretty heavily. Like we saw during the pandemic, houses dipped for a little while people were still trying to figure out if the world was ending, and then they spiked right up and they were going up as much as 40% in some places. So realistically, even if the market were to crash right now, it still wouldn't be worse than when we started the pandemic. And if you're planning on living here during that 5-year timeline, you're going to be paying down the mortgage. You're probably going to be putting a little bit extra towards it every month. You're also going to have your down payment included in that, and then you're going to have some appreciation over time as well. So if you need to go to sell it, then you are all set. You're going to get your money back probably plus a little bit more. But if you need to move within that 5-year timeline, there is a good chance that you're probably going to either lose a little bit of money or best case scenario break even. But I'm going to be able to help you navigate that because I have helped a lot of my clients get out of some sticky situations. So realistically, there is a right and a wrong time to buy depending on what your situation is. The market has a lot less to do with it than you would think. But overall, real estate is such a great investment to get into just because it is going to set your future up for success, and it's going to give you an incredibly comfortable living as you progress throughout your life. I think with all these millennials moving to the Cleveland area, we are getting a lot of young, bright minds here that are going to help our economy grow even more, and it's going to just put us in a place to be successful together. And it's really going to push the business and the community growth that we have surrounding and located within Cleveland. Now, if you're starting to think about jumping into this market, feel free to reach out to me and we can start to get yourself a customized game plan. All of my contact information is down in the description. My name is Sam Oler and I'm a realtor in this area, and I'd be honored to help you with your move. I help a lot of different people relocate here every year. So whether you're thinking of moving here within a week or even a couple of years, feel free to reach out to me and we can get the process started. And if you find yourself down in the description looking up some of my other social media or maybe my contact information, before you go, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe just to keep up to date with everything that's happening in the Cleveland area. But with all that being said, I'm gonna leave the video there. I'll catch you in the next one.